My laptop's about to die. Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is an open, honest and frank dialogue about trying to conceive. Just an unfiltered discussion about the reality of it and my reality of it. And before we go any further into the video, I wanted to make a disclaimer. I've got notes here, so I've done little bullet points of my experience so I can read from it and kind of, when I say unfiltered, you know, I'm going to be like, oh, that's the bullet point, this is where we're going. But before we get into anything, I wanted to say that it's not a competition. I'm sure that there will be a discussion in the comments, which I would love. I love to talk about all kind of topics, but everyone's experience is valid, whether somebody has a short or long, an easy or hard. Everybody's experience is their own and it's unique to them, and it might be great or it might be horrible. So whatever your experience was, it's completely valid. And I just wanted to start the video off in the tone that it's not a competition and we are just supportive of each other in our own journeys here. If you're new here or you just need a recap, I'm going to give a bit of I wrote here an introduction of who I am, my background. So who am I? I'm Ailish. I've been on social media a while. I used to share a lot of my personal life on social media, but then I decided I didn't like doing that. I'm okay to be quite moderate with my sharing of my personal life now, because I like my personal life being personal. But I'm really happy to share some things, because some things I find very useful to experience myself from others online, and some things that I find quite cathartic, I guess, to share online. So I started out as a fitness influencer. I was really into health and sharing that online. That evolved into me becoming a women's health coach and creating the Wellness Club Coaching, which is a worldwide women's lifestyle health coaching transformation service where we help women get into incredible shape, incredible routine, complete incredible things, high roxes, marathons and so on. And in this video, I'm mostly just going to be sharing my own experience and what I've learned along the way. I'm currently in my second trimester of pregnancy and I like talking about myself, so that's why we're here. So if we go back right to the start, I think it's relevant to give a little bit of an overview of the relationship of my partner and I. And this is a two-person mission here. So Jake and I have been together since 2018. We met when he was 19 and I was 21, 22. There was a 3-year age gap and I was like, I'm a cougar. And at this point in time, I was obviously quite young, and my whole life I felt like I was quite a selfish person, and I never really wanted children because I was like, don't want that responsibility. I don't want to have to care about something else. Like, I care about myself too much. Like, I couldn't see myself being selfless at that point in my life. And I met Jake, and he did want children at some point, but we were very young, so we had differing opinions, so I wasn't too bothered. And it turns out I really liked Jake and I really thought that he would be a good dad and he would be a really good support, and that his children would be pretty awesome. And so I was like, you know, I probably could have children, especially if they're his. And then when I turned 26, I'd say I had like the biggest mindset shift where I was like, I need children. Like, I need children. Like, it was obviously I want Jake's children, but in my mind, which is very interesting because apparently this happened to my mom. She was not very bothered about children until she turned 26 and a mind switched and she was like, I need children like tomorrow. So that happened to me as well. That's kind of my background. I'm 28 now, and 2 years ago when I was 26, Jake and I restructured my business, which is now our business. So Jake left his job in corporate real estate to come on board as MD at the time, but it's now kind of like his role has changed, but within the Wellness Club, so that we could both work together and have that flexibility to have the parenting lifestyle that we both wanted, so that we could both be present with having children. So it's been obviously a long time in planning, kind of completely transforming our lives to the version of our life that we wanted to have to have kids. So obviously having a baby is a two-man job. And before we get into my kind of story and perspective on the whole trying to conceive journey, I wanted to bring in a special guest to have their input from a male perspective in this journey. So this is Jake.
Hello, this is Jake. It's been a little while since I've been on a video, but thank you. And you'll have to please excuse my nose clippy thing. Your boy's just trying to breathe. But anyway, coming back to the theme of the video, as a male partner specifically, because that's my perspective, and I think in any partnership generally, the way that you're going to overcome and actually prevent obstacles is just open, directional communication. And I always think of it like, road maintenance. If you don't look after it, you'll start to get issues come up, like potholes and stuff like that. And if you just take care of it regularly, if you regularly openly communicate, things don't become issues later on down the line. That kind of takes a whole new level when you start to struggle to conceive. And I think that you have to, from our perspective, as the male partner, you're going to have to really understand that your partner needs a whole new level of support, because especially that, your openness together, they're experiencing a very different type of challenge. It's massively emotional, neurochemical, and it's physically as well.
I'm going to stir your pasta while you finish your thought.
And what I mean in that is, with these new challenges, you just need to be adaptable to that kind of support that your partner needs in a sensitive way. Just be insistent with regular communication. If at any time you're struggling, obviously you need to communicate that as well, but just try and put yourself in their shoes. And I think from your perspective, what you would want from me is just that constant level throughout the entire process, whether it's a specifically bad month or a specifically, not so bad month. It's a consistent level of commitment, the whole reason why you're doing that in the first place. And just acceptance that, it definitely is going to take the course it's going to take.
Because I think sometimes I wasn't prepared to talk, or sometimes obviously I was going through like an emotional roller coaster sometimes, and I was new and different and maybe more difficult to deal with. So I think it's just like being steadfast during that is what really helped. Because sometimes I didn't want to talk, sometimes I did want to talk, and you were just ready whenever.
I think acceptance is the big one. You can't blame each other. With anything starts to go wrong, if there's a lapse in communication, you just start playing the blame game. No one wins the blame game. No one. This isn't like a problem to be solved. It's a challenge or a difficulty or just a rough patch to overcome. And if you take it with the context of, if we can obviously overcome this, that's our new kind of threshold for a difficult time in our life. And anything below that, you're like, we got it. And I think the most important thing actually is coming to the end of trying to conceive, to actually doing it and conceiving. And then at the other side, having a child. Communication and communicating the state of your relationship, the state of yourself, is exponentially more important. So actually, I think it can be a really valuable lesson. And if you can want to reframe it like that, it's really handy having all these periods of having to not over communicate, but intentionally really put time and effort into communicating. I lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, you're practicing for having to communicate a lot more, once hopefully your child's here. I think that's as much usefulness as you're going to get out of me. I'm going to start to ramble otherwise.
Thank you very much. It was late 2023 when we 100% said early 2024 we want to start trying. So 6 months ahead, I kind of cut out alcohol, which was fine because I like drinking alcohol. Love it, it's great. I was already training for a marathon, so that wasn't really too hard because I wasn't really drinking anyway because I needed my recovery. And I reduced my caffeine intake and everything for fertility, optimizing sleep, nutrition, just all of my diet and my lifestyle and everything was already healthy. I'm a healthy gal. I've been healthy for over a decade, you know, like I've been optimizing my health for over a decade and I've been in good health for a long time. So it was kind of just that little bit extra, like that little extra pizzazz, you know, the extra seeds on top of the meals to just make sure that everything was optimized for fertility. At this time, we told people that we were trying for a baby, but we weren't specific on timelines. We were like, we're probably going to start trying soon, which is a very exciting place to be in. In early 2024, I got my copper coil removed. So I had a copper coil for like 7 or 8 years. And so I hadn't been on hormonal contraception since I was 20. So I had my own period, very regular, very consistent. I was very aware of my cycle. Like I knew her, she was very familiar to me. So after the coil was removed and I didn't have any contraception for the first time in my like sexually active life, sorry ma'am, there was loads of excitement about the possibility, like this could make a baby, you know? Like there was that first excitement, like that had never been experienced before, you know, because the deed never led to anything other than like not a child. There was 6 months of build up until getting the contraception out. So optimizing, dreaming about it, planning the due date, more or less, being like, you know, this is going to come out, we're going to fall pregnant and we're going to have a baby on like this month. In hindsight, not a good thing to do, but that's ultimately what we did do, and I maybe would not recommend that to you, because you just think, you know, I've optimized everything, everything's kind of like where it needs to be, it'll probably work. Everything else in my life that I've like wanted, more or less, like it's happened, so why not this, you know? It's worth noting that I also did have a blood test, like a hormone profile before I got my contraception out. So I got like a fertility profile, I got everything. It was just like a big like blood test and everything came back gorgeous. So I was feeling very confident because regular cycle, healthy, I recognized my discharge patterns and everything. Like I know what's going on with my body. So I was feeling good, nailed down the cycle. That was the kind of lead up to starting. And then I knew when I was ovulating for that first month. And of course, you never really pay that much attention to like period symptoms. Like you're like, oh, my boobs are getting sore. But like you don't, and sometimes you might be like, oh, there's a bit of like white discharge in my underwear. But you don't think that much of it. You don't like look at it and you don't study it and you don't think and you don't like hold your boobs and think, is this a pregnancy symptom? Like, so I wrote down my symptoms daily in that first month because I was like, oh my God, I don't think I felt this before. So like, let's note it down. Again, this might be where it was like, I shouldn't have been doing this. I was 1 day late for my period. So, which can happen like for my cycle, because it's important to know also that I have one cystic ovary. So I've got ovarian cyst on one ovary, which I found out from a smear test a few years ago, and they did some like scans, some ultrasounds, and like it's not that it's an issue, but they said like maybe one of my ovaries doesn't like release an egg, so maybe it's like it might be one ovary fine, the same ovary again, and then when it comes to that ovary, it might not release. It's never an issue. They were just like there's nothing you can do, girl. Like eat well and sleep well and reduce stress. And it's like there's only so much you can do. A lot of people have PCOS, endometriosis, ovarian cysts, and there's nothing much you can do about it. So I've got one ovarian cyst. So sometimes, like as much as my cycle's regular, it'll come a day early, a day late, which is very, very normal in anyone's cycle. So it was a day late, so we were very excited and we're like, let's get the pregnancy test out. Obviously, it came back negative. I wrote down here, after that, you know, I Googled 30% of people get pregnant first time, which I was like, that's a huge percentage of people. It's not, obviously, it's very much a minority of people. And like, so it's worth to not compare, because you might get pregnant first time, you might not. I wanted to mention here, regardless of how long your journey takes, whether it is well, if it's first time, this is irrelevant to you. But if it's the second month, if it's the 7th month, or the first year or the second year, I think that first period is the worst. That first negative test, that first period, it's the first time that you are ever experiencing that feeling. Like you've never experienced that feeling before. It's totally new. It's that new kind of like heartbreak. It's that, I've got loads of notes here, but so to say, especially when I mentioned at the beginning there, like to not compare journeys, I think like regardless of whether you got pregnant in 3 months, 6 months or a year, that first negative test for everybody hurts the same. It hurts the worst. Everybody experiences that first month. And you're not prepared, you get your heart ripped out of your chest, you feel like you've lost, like, you just feel like you've lost your future. You feel like there's so much, like, it feels like part of you is missing. There's so many weird feelings that you've never felt before. So I just think that it's important that anyone who's been through that first month, it's rough. It is so rough, and I think as much as it is just as equally disappointing month after month, it doesn't feel the same way as it feels the first time. I did do a pregnancy test every month, which again, I don't recommend you do that. A couple of times I felt like I was pregnant. A couple of times, I'm a business owner. I employ people, and if I don't work, my staff don't get paid. So if I'm sat there worrying, kind of like staring at the computer but unable to type because I'm like, am I pregnant, am I not pregnant? The easiest thing to do is just take a pregnancy test to get that peace of mind. So that is why I took a pregnancy test every single month. But again, I maybe don't recommend that you do that. After I took the pregnancy test, my period started the next day. My body is in disrepair because of the mental prep. Because again, like I said, I basically said, you know, we're getting pregnant this month. This is going to be the baby's due date. Oh, you're crazy, Ailish, you're crazy. There was a huge emotional come down because this had been in the works for, at this point, like over a year, 6 months of planning, like, you know. So I was heartbroken, lost, felt like my heart had been ripped out my chest. I was unable to get off the sofa for 3 days. I was shoveling the chocolate in my little face. And I'd never felt pain like it before. Like it was new, fresh pain. The positives was that I was very reassured that this was something that I wanted. I was like, this hurts, I want it. You know, so at least that was a positive. But yeah, that was really hard. Like I literally didn't want to leave the house. Like I was just absolutely like heartbroken. And then I'm close to my parents, but I'm very sporadic in my updates of them. I have a very secure attachment style. So I will just very much drop in at my convenience. That's just how I operate. And it was pretty much out of character for me. But I did ring my mum explaining what had happened, like because I was literally so inconsolable. Obviously, Jake is the best person in the whole wide world. And he has supported, I'll discuss this in a bit more depth, where he supported me like incomparably through this whole, through our whole relationship. Mentally, I was like, my mum is the only person in the world that is gonna know exactly how I feel. Like she carried me. I want to carry a baby, so like I need to like share this. So I felt really bad because I was just like, hello, like unable to talk because I was crying. But that's what mums are for, and that's what I'm preparing for myself right now, right? Only at this point, it was like only Jake and my mum that knew, because obviously we said, you know, we're trying at some point next year, you know, maybe like next summer or like at the end of 2024, but we hadn't really said. So this is when the grey cloud of 2024 kind of like began, you know. And the second, obviously, time that I had my period, the second month, I was carrying this heavy weight, and it was really beginning to impact me, impact just how I thought about myself and how I thought about life, and that's like, I just began to worry. I just began to grow concerned. But luckily, work was going really well at the time, so it was a good reprieve. I was really enjoying my work, so at least I had like a good positive distraction at the time. The ways that it was impacting us was that I couldn't find the will to exercise. I was just so disappointed in my body for not being able to do what it should do and like what I've like been healthy for it to do, that it was kind of just like, what's the point? Which is so silly, but I was really, it's just an emotional pain that I've never experienced before, you know? I was emotional eating, and again, it's an emotional experience that I've never been through before. I wasn't prepared. Like, I mentally was not prepared for what to do if it didn't happen straight away. So that's, I guess, something that I would advise is like, if it is something you're like going for at some point in your life in the near future, plan your kind of like, if it doesn't like mentally, what can you do? Like prepare yourself mentally, because I didn't, and usually I do, but I didn't for this. So I ended up not having any will to exercise, emotional eating, so much negative self-talk, and like I was like, how can you call yourself a women's health coach, a nutritionist, somebody in the health and fitness space, when your body isn't even healthy? And I want to just, as I get into this next bit, say that I don't believe that these thoughts are like truly my own, and I think that you get very clouded with so much anger and negativity that your thoughts start becoming quite mean. Like, I felt like a fraud. I was just like, if I'm not fertile, like, how can I promote that I'm like healthy? And so that was part of it. Pregnancy announcements began, like, when I saw them online, like, hurt. So then I kind of limited my social media usage, because every single pregnancy announcement felt like a stab in the chest. And a lot of anger, meanness, resentment, and nastiness was inside of us. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd see people in public who were either ignoring the children or like being mean to the children, or like looked like they didn't live very healthy lives. And this is absolutely judgmental and absolutely abhorrent, and I don't really recommend to judge people, because who the fuck are you to judge someone? But I would be like, how do you deserve to have kids? Like, how do you deserve them children if you're being so mean? How do you know? Not good. But that's, if I'm being completely honest with you, a lot of meanness and sadness and resentment kind of did bubble up inside for a period of time. So I would see people in public, like I saw a girl that looked like me with a baby, and like I just started crying. So I was very emotional. I was so emotional. God, my emotions were a roller coaster throughout the whole of last year. I had a lot of questioning, doubting myself. Why me? What's wrong with me? Why not me? Will this be me forever? Am I never going to experience pregnancy? Am I never going to grow a baby? Incessant Googling about everything. I was unable to calm down, and everything reminded me of trying to conceive. But I will say, with all the kind of negativity and such, once I started talking to others, it was really, really helpful. So once I started talking to family and friends of friends and friends of family, and hearing their stories and hearing their perspective, and hearing how some people struggled for 2 years before falling pregnant and having the most gorgeous children in the whole wide world, or people who ended up with IVF, or friends and family and loved ones and friends of friends or acquaintances, etc., who had miscarriages and had had a lot of difficulty and struggle and emotional turmoil with their own fertility journey. That kind of wiped away those kind of negative thoughts, because I think it came from a place of lack of understanding, because I think I didn't really know that much. I didn't really know kind of the realistic. I knew a few kind of stories from friends and family, but I didn't realize how many women are impacted by fertility struggles. So I felt very, very alone and mean, because I felt so alone, because I didn't understand. But once I understood that it's really not an easy journey for anybody at all, that kind of went away. And I think it's easy to compare and be mean and kind of like have that kind of comparison syndrome when you don't know any information at all. So when you've got information, then you are less like kind of mean and judgmental. A little shout out, a little mention here. Something that was very healing for me was in the summer, I met my cousin's baby, who was 6 months old at the time. And she knew that I wanted a baby, that gorgeous little girl. And she just gave us loads of kisses and loads of cuddles. She was just like, you need some baby love. And it was very good. It was super duper healing. It made us feel a lot better. But at the same time, my health spiraled for me kind of over the summer as a health professional. I previously, you know, I just ran a marathon. I did a fat loss phase. I'm a consistent, healthy, fit girly. And I used to exercise anywhere between like 4 to 6 times a week, and my workouts kind of went down to like 1 to 2 times a week with a daily walk, and my diet was more like 60-40, not like 80-90, 10-20, you know, like it was kind of getting closer to 50-50 than it was to being more nutrient dense. Like I mentioned previously, Jake was there for us. He was cooking for us. He pushed simple, easy things like dragging us for a walk. He was like, get the fuck up and get the fuck out. Not like that. That's how it felt though. He was just like, come on, Ailish, let's go for a walk. But it just felt like, leave us alone. But I'm obviously really grateful for it. It actually also helped stop me emotional eating as well, because I realized that I was getting pretty bad. Like, I'm somebody who can maybe have a couple of cubes of chocolate and be like, that was amazing. But I was going for like strip after strip, like half a shea bar, and I was like, this is too much refined sugar to have on a daily basis, girl. Like, you know, this isn't good for your dental health. You know, this isn't good for your physical health. It's not good. And I was like, I feel pretty bad about this. I don't feel very good about this. Partners kind of just accept you for who you are and what you do, and like they don't judge you, you know? So I think Jake probably wasn't aware of the extent, even though he was with us the whole time. I don't think he was aware of the extent of how it was like impacting us internally. So I said, Jake, you need to stop us from emotional eating, because I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to be eating half a shea bar of chocolate a night. And he was like, okay, right, well, fine. And the first night I had like a strip of chocolate, and then I was like, I want another one. And he was like, no. And I was like, no, but please, I really want another one. And he was like, no, you can't have it. You've said that you want us to stop you from having them. So just like, you can't have it. And I was like, I don't care if you care about me. I don't care if I'm going to appreciate this in the future, but I am not your friend right now. I don't like you right now. I'm not happy about this. And then interestingly, about 30 minutes later, I totally got over it. Like, because emotional eating it's emotional, and once you process your emotions and you get through and I was like, I don't even fancy chocolate. So it's worthwhile sharing when you realize, when you realize you're in a place you need the help. Anyways, I got very in tune with my cycle. I absolutely thrived in my follicular and ovulation phases. Woo, I was so productive. I was amazing. I was a 10 out of 10. Love it. And then in my luteal phase, I started kind of like lowering, and then I'd always crash and weep for 1 to 2 days during menstruation. I was unable to work. I was unable to concentrate for like 1 or 2 days every single month. Like, I was pretty inconsolable. So after 7 months, we went to see a gynecologist in Dubai. I know that they say you need to try for 12 months before kind of going for tests and stuff, but I was like, no, I can't do it. The gynecologist said to Jake to get a sperm test and for me to get some blood tests, but we had to wait for the blood test because you had to get them on day 2 and day 5 of your period or something like that, and it was day like 6 or 7 of the period that I just had. We went home from that. Oh, important to mention. So get the sperm test, get the blood tests. And after talking about our history with us, the gynecologist said, honestly, it's probably just in your head, which felt a bit mean, I'm not gonna lie. But she said, looking at your health, everything is in order. Like, obviously we'll get these tests for peace of mind, but like, there's either 2 things that I think it could be, either in your mind, or microplastics are apparently having a big impact on fertility. So she was just like, that could be a cause, but it's either in your mind or kind of there's some things in life these days that are impacting like fertility rates. When she was like, it's in your head, and a lot of family and friends and people said, you know, when you stop trying, when you relax, it'll happen. Me and Jake went home and we sat and planned 2025. The camera's gonna die. I'm gonna try and charge it. Sorry, my camera died. I went on a walk and now it's later, and I'm back to finish off where I was. So before the camera died, I think I was saying about how we had been to see the gynecologist, and they said, you know, it's all in your mind. So Jake and I went home and we went and planned 2025. Jake's just cooking in the background, or having his dinner in the background there. But we kind of said, okay, 2025, what are we gonna do? We're gonna travel, we're gonna go to Japan. And it wasn't just kind of saying it, it was believing and meaning all of these things we were saying to each other. Like, if we aren't gonna be pregnant, like, what can we do? Let's just do the most dink stuff that we can, double income, no kids, stuff that we can do in the year, because it'll take however long it's gonna take. So let's just have a really good 2025. So if it's gonna take years, I don't want to feel like loss and waste. I wanna say, like, I've had the best years of my life with you. That's how we were kind of communicating together. We don't wanna regret being sad for years. And my perspective was, like, I love you. And if you're all that I'm gonna get in this life, I couldn't ask for more. I couldn't wish for more. Like, this is truly all I need, and I really wanna just enjoy that and take as much of it as I can. So yes, we planned to go to Japan. We talked about what we dreamed to do together and set up kind of like a business plan and a life plan.
You've just reminded me of something else, actually, and it was actually similar to the point you just made. That what I wanted to end on was actually, you know, if you ever like having any kind of turbulence, just remember why you're doing it in the first place. It's because you love each other a lot and you want, you know, the next chapter of your life to involve children. That's it. Like, they're just an extension of the partnership you have together. So, like, why would you trash that to get the thing that you're doing it for?
So we planned it all, and then we conceived the next week, which is crazy. We just moved into a villa, which is where we are now. I think, having been told that it was in my head, I seem to have just relaxed. And it tends to piss a lot of people off. It pissed me off, at least, when people said it's all in your head. When you stop trying, it'll happen. Because this definitely isn't true for everybody. This truly isn't true, because some people struggle with infertility, but it is more common than you'd think. And I know a lot of people say to that, like, how can you just stop trying? Because, like, you know your cycle, you know all these things. Like, do you just forget you ovulate? Like, what do you mean stop trying? And I agree, but for me it was like deleting the period tracking app where I was tracking sex as well, and the ovulation, and also kind of like thinking about how many days post ovulation it was on that month. TMI to close family members, I was like a little bit sick of sex by this point, because like it had been like over half a year of just like a lot of the time being like, right, we need to, you know, it's the fertile window, we can't miss it. Instead of being like, I want to get freaky with you, it was like, it's the fertile window. So in that month, I obviously didn't pay attention. I roughly knew that I was going to obviously be ovulating in like 2 weeks. Like, I roughly knew that, but I wasn't kind of like counting down the days. And I think purposely I didn't actually want to even try and have sex around those days. So like there's only 2 possible times that the child could have been conceived. This is extra TMI, because in the kind of like 2 weeks around ovulation, there was one time way before and one time kind of way after. So I think that also is you know, like, that's kind of part of the not trying mentally. There was no, because I was like, you know, it's not gonna. So obviously I either ovulated a little bit early or a little bit late, and that's how it happened. Because again, truly mentally, I was like, nothing is going to come of this, because it's literally just, you know, it's hard to describe. But anyways, I forgot to mention as well, with that kind of whole first period, So the first month, the first kind of like, when it came to the second month, like I found myself crying a lot, especially around sex, because like I was like there was a lot of pressure and stress, and I was like, oh my God, is this all it's ever gonna be for? Like in my head, like before I could rationalize all my thoughts, and I was just like, it was like a worry. It was again another not nice thing to go through. So anyways, there was a lot of struggle last year, and I had like a grey cloud over my head for a lot of last year. And there was a lot of roller coaster, there was a lot of up and down, there was a lot of sadness. I'm in my second trimester now, and all of that pain is gone. All of that pain immediately lifted upon the first trimester. Like it slowly seeped away from the positive pregnancy test to seeing a heartbeat on a screen. All the pain that was experienced is being healed by growing a baby. It's really nice because in hindsight, I had a great year. Like I began to really love my job again. Like I had new roles in work, I got new creativity, I loved social media again. We traveled to Switzerland and Jake did an Ironman, and like I have so many good memories from like last year was amazing. Like we lived our lives last year. I had a great year. It was fantastic. And you know, I wouldn't change a thing about it because this is the baby that I want. Like this is my baby. I don't want a baby that was earlier. Like this is my baby and I want this one, you know? We spent all summer with family and loved ones, and I did live my life to the max during the trying to conceive period. So there was a dark cloud looming during that time. However, it's like I look back and that dark cloud isn't there anymore. That dark cloud is gone because of conceiving. So I had all these amazing memories, and I made sure to live life to the max, which is what I plan to do this year, so that you can look back and say, damn, that was good, because truly all of the pain, like it doesn't exist anymore. Like I really don't feel it. No way. I remember it, but the way that it felt is nowhere near as much as it was at the time. I have some advice that from my experience to take away. The advice that I have for you to take away is Jake and I are really healthy with no reason at all to not conceive straight away. Like we are kind of like, there is no reason, because we have been healthy our whole lives. I've had a consistent period. We're both a picture of health. We both live a healthy lifestyle. We both have a very healthy relationship. We are the healthiest picture you could imagine. There is no family history of any kind of like fertility issues really. So it took us 8 months. So don't beat yourself up if it doesn't happen straight away. You're gonna beat yourself up anyways, but just kind of like, we are the picture of health, and it didn't work straight away because it's got nothing to do with that. I think it's weird and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So please don't think, oh, you know, maybe if I didn't eat that thing, or maybe if I didn't have that drink. No, like I really don't think it has anything to do with that at all. It happens when it happens, which makes you want to absolutely strangle anyone and everyone. But yeah, don't beat yourself up about your health, because it clearly doesn't matter that much. I would also recommend, if possible, invest in testing as soon as possible for peace of mind. So a pelvic scan, hormone levels, and sperm, quality sperm levels, because if you are like, okay, your uterus is fine, your womb is fine, if your ovaries are fine, if your blood tests both come back great, sperm comes back great, amazing, then you have peace of mind, everything works great. So just go away and have fun, you know, like book some holidays, do some fun things, just like have nice memories. And like Jake mentioned earlier there, like focus on the love for each other, and that's why you're doing this, to grow your relationship. So just remember, kind of like, you are the most important people in each other's lives, so prioritize that and don't forget that, and make sure that it's tough, but like toughness brings good things. Like you always get success when you try hard and you go through tough things. Another thing that I would really recommend is talk as soon as possible to other women, especially other women. Like honestly, having conversations face to face with women who had struggled themselves. There's something healing about like womanhood energy, like feminine energy, something about the conversations, something about shared experience, something about like sharing womanhood with other women was really instrumental in me kind of getting on with it, like getting on with life and kind of like accepting and finding peace and just kind of like having a great year, and then being able to get through it and actually my mindset being pretty decent because of that. And it will take however long it takes. It's going to be really, really long and really unfair for some people, and it's going to be relatively easy and quick for others. And I don't think it's worth comparing to anybody because it's one aspect of somebody's life. Somebody could get pregnant straight away and have the most horrific pregnancy known to man. Somebody could take ages to get pregnant and have the most incredible pregnancy known to man. Some people's relationships may struggle, some may improve. Some people's family dynamics might not be like what they want it to be. They might not be happy with their family dynamics. There are so many factors in somebody's life. So don't compare yourself to the number of months or years it takes you versus somebody else to get pregnant, because it's so arbitrary and it really doesn't matter. Like I said, you can be the healthiest person in the world and like you might take a while to get pregnant. So focusing on yourself and focusing on your journey and your partner's journey, and just loving each other and enjoying each other as much as possible, and just remembering that it is so unique and individual, and that it's really tricky and it's really amazing and it's really unfair and it's really confusing. And I think that's maybe the reason that the video needs to be made. Like, these videos need to be out there, because I think I was definitely confused and lost, and the studies, but like it's tricky, right? Like, it feels weird. Like, for taking 8 months, I'm just gonna go back to Google here, but how many people are pregnant after 8 months of trying? 75% after 6 months, 90% after a year. So somewhere between 75 and 90% of people. But do you know what? I don't know, because I know so many people who it's taken longer than a year. So the statistics, do we believe them? I'm not sure. Which is why I say focus on yourself. If you get the testing and you have the peace of mind and you just have a good life, then hopefully life is in your wishes for life are in your favor. And yeah, it's really difficult and tough, but I'm obviously incredibly lucky and happy and privileged to be in a position now where I can feel the baby that I'm growing kicking inside of us, and like I'm having an incredible pregnancy experience. I love it. I love the impending motherhood. I'm loving it. So there's definitely, it definitely can have a happy ending if you're not, like if you're in the midst, if you haven't started, like wherever you are, like it's everyone's journey is different, and I have faith in you. So thank you for sitting and watching this super duper long video. I hope that you're okay, and maybe I'll catch you in another one of my videos, maybe not. But thanks for watching, and see you soon.